Hi, I'm Finola Holyoke, and in this video we're going to have a look at some of the words you might have seen in the news this week. First, here are the words we're going to learn in this week's video. Component, cliché, appropriacy, exposure, proficiency. Now listen carefully to the following news report. In the news this week, an examiner's report has highlighted common English errors in Hong Kong University entrance exams. As well as issues with pronunciation, a major problem was the use of Chinese-influenced English. Using directly translated Chinese language structures was a problem in both the oral and written components of the exam. Pupils were also criticised for using stock phrases and clichés without being aware of their appropriacy. It's possible that these errors are caused by lack of exposure to authentic English materials, such as newspapers and magazines. Hong Kong's level of English proficiency has been in decline over the past few years. A global survey of English language abilities recently ranked Hong Kong below Shanghai, Beijing, and Japan. A component is a part of a larger whole. So here's an example. The engine is an important component of a car, meaning that the engine is an important part of the larger whole, meaning the car. Another example is understanding and forgiveness are important components of friendship. So they're important parts of the larger whole, which is friendship. A cliché is a phrase which is used too much, and so it suggests a lack of originality or imagination. Here are some examples of clichés. If you wrote, "They all lived happily ever after" at the end of your story, that would be a cliché because it's used so often that it's now considered a bad thing because you're not using your imagination. Sayings can also be clichés because they're used so much that they lose their meaning. For example, "look on the bright side" and "a blessing or a curse." The noun appropriacy comes from the adjective appropriate, which you're probably familiar with already. It means suitable. So appropriacy describes whether a word or phrase is suitable in a certain situation. Here's an example. It is challenging to judge the appropriacy of idioms correctly. And this means that it's difficult to work out whether idioms are being used in a suitable way. The noun exposure comes from the verb to expose, and to expose means to introduce someone to something, so not to a person but to an idea or a subject. So here's an example. Our teacher exposed us to complex English grammar from a young age, meaning our teacher introduced us to complicated English grammar. So exposure used as a noun means the experience of something. So work experience is an excellent way to gain exposure to a business environment, meaning work experience is an excellent way to be introduced to gain some experience of a business environment. If you're proficient at something, it means that you're skilled in doing or using something. So you might say, "We hired him because he proved that he was proficient at selling." The noun of this adjective is proficiency, which means skill or expertise. So her proficiency on the piano is outstanding for her age, meaning her skill on the piano is outstanding for her age. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.